Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Diamond Discussion. I'm your host, Demetrius Woods, and I've got my great friend here, Kyle Frye. We're going to chop it up, everything baseball, just have a great conversation. So without further ado, let's get it started. All right, guys, welcome to episode 69. It is a brand new year. I've got a good friend, man, Kyle Frye with me today. And we just want to have some good baseball conversation with you guys, and hopefully add a few nuggets to your tool belt if we can, and just the way that we chop it up. But also give you cause to pause about a few things surrounding the baseball world. But before we jump into that, Kyle, thank you for being on the show, man. What's it been like, man, for you this holiday season? Anything?
Man, it's been relaxing. Let me tell you. I'm in sales now at this point in my life, and it's a constant grind. Go 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 go, like all year chasing quotas. Keeping customers happy. But there's this lull during holiday season. Usually, after Thanksgiving, the 2 weeks, leading up to Christmas, and then the no man's land in between Christmas and New Year's. So things have been relaxing. I had a good time with family, significant other out in Gatlinburg. So yeah, man, it's been great. It's been
sweet, dude. Did y'all get any snow out there in Gatlinburg when you went over?
We didn't. No, okay. Man, we had 60s and sun just like it was here, so it made for a lot of fun stuff outside.
Dude, gotta love that, man. It's such a weird, like, living in the South is like you never know what you're gonna get. We've had Christmases where, like, there was a couple Christmases ago where my mom's side of the family, we rented this house on the lake near where we live down back in Georgia, and my brother and I were on kayaks in shorts and t-shirt on Christmas Day. That's how we woke up.
It's incredible.
We woke up to a morning kayak session on the lake.
This will have to be a story for another day.
Okay.
My significant other can tell you this in a while. Near-death experience on a kayak.
Oh, yes.
Right. Again,
yes.
That's a long story for another day.
I already know this story, but I think our audience,
let's not relive it.
That would be a banger to start it off with. But let's talk about, I guess, the new year. We're a week into the new year. Are you a new year, new me kind of guy, or just another day, somewhere in between? Like, what's your flow like in this time of year?
Yeah, man. I'd love to say that I'm a new year, new me every year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, this time of year is like the perfect time to kind of look back at, the year and reflect, like, what went right, what went wrong, and kind of set your sights on turning the page and, starting new routines in 2026. And I've done that, I feel like I've set a lot of goals for myself in the new year before. And just like most people, a couple weeks in, I fall right back into old routines. So, and I think so to answer your question, I just fall somewhere in between, honestly, because, I think what it boils down to and why I failed and why so many people do fail in terms of setting those New Year's resolutions is just because they want to go 0 to 100.
Yeah.
They want to go cold turkey on something they want to quit or stop doing, or they want to, really take on a new habit or start going to the gym 5 times a week when they may not have gone before.
Right.
So it's all about setting realistic goals, like small goals, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, for the first month, I'm gonna do a 1 workout a week. Next month 2, next month 3, and then it's about creating a habit, right?
Right.
After 2-3 weeks, that habit could stick or you could fall right out. So it's just making attainable goals. And I feel like in my past, like, I've always set like unrealistic, like high achieving goals. And so if I do slip back or don't achieve those goals, that's usually why. So it's like,
I got you,
measurable.
So
right?
I think hearing you say that, I think about, like, from a business standpoint, we always look at the year in quarters, like 90-day blitzes. That's kind of what I think about, right? Yeah. Let me go hard for 90 days, and then I'll hit that reset button. So the new year is naturally another 90-day blitz that begins for me from a business standpoint. And my daughter Aubrey, which a lot of our audience knows about these days, but she asked me, like, the other day, like, what's your favorite holiday? Aubrey loves Valentine's Day.
Of course.
My wife Bethany, Aubrey loves pink and she loves hearts. That's why Valentine's Day is currently her favorite. Okay. That may change as she gets older. Right. I don't know. We'll see. My wife's is genuinely Christmas, and then honestly mine is New Year's. Just because it's that opportunity to hit a little bit of a reset button in terms of like the calendar year. But I also like the thought of what you were just talking about there of setting some goals. But my first quarter goals are not as ever heavy as my last quarter goals, right?
Right.
I revisit them
Right.
every 90 days. And so when I got into the insurance and investment world, that was like a big piece, was to like be able to chop up your year in increments so that you didn't overdo it at the beginning.
Yeah, that makes
And did you talk about like the gym and such, man? It was so crazy like to watch the flood of people that come in the first week, first 3 weeks, right, of
It's almost
January.
like figure out a way to do a workout at home because it's so busy at the gym.
That's right.
But
yeah, the normal equipment that you're gonna have access to, you can forget about it. Forget about it.
Available.
That's it. So, bro, let's talk some baseball real quick. And speaking of this time of year, for a lot of baseball players, and even well, a lot of baseball players across the whole country, and then softball players pretty much in every other state minus Georgia and a couple of others. High school wise, they play most school states play high school softball in the spring, but Georgia, Arizona, and it might even be Illinois, but I could be wrong about that. They play high school softball in the fall, but pretty much the majority of the country plays softball in the spring. Same with baseball. So everybody's in preseason mode right now, right? You've had an opportunity to maybe, dive into some winter workouts through the holidays, those types of things. But I remember kind of reflecting and going back and just remembering so many players out there that kind of felt behind at this stage. We may wait. I don't know. In the flow of today's conversation, we may talk about your career from a baseball standpoint. Maybe it's for another show. But from your expertise and your background, what are your thoughts on that front of people feeling behind at this stage?
Yeah. It's just like anything else in life right now. It's like a comparison culture, right? Like the social media. I will get into that a little bit, but it's so easy when you look around and see what others are doing. Maybe it's another team or another player on the same team, and just measuring yourself like, oh, what, they're so far ahead of me. They've already been doing X, Y, and Z workouts for several weeks, and I'm nowhere near that, or just don't feel as prepared as that person. Well, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a great time to start ramping up.
Sure.
For sure. For any player that starts in spring, right? But honestly, it's all about where you're at developmentally wise. Like that's and the commitment and the hard work that you're willing to put in, right?
Sure.
So you have a designated time. Like every year for like preseason in high school or even college, we had predetermined like scheduled workout days and hitting days and fielding days in the preseason leading up. But you had guys in there, I'm talking weeks to months prior to even those set scheduled preseason days.
Yeah.
And those were the non-roster guys. They were the seniors, So
set the tone.
Yeah, set the tone. So the underclass, you have the non-roster guys that are really fighting for a position to put in extra work. But from an underclassman, perspective, like going in freshman year, I look around and I'm like, I always just thought it was like, okay, you show up on your set days and that's when the work starts. Well, no, I'm starting to see the commitment and the dedication that some of these hungry guys and the seniors that want that championship, they got that grit. And I'm like, man, this is what it's all about. Like, I got to get in here and I got to start earlier. So, it's easy to feel behind, but I was that guy coming in, but just seeing all those guys around me that are putting in the extra work, it really is motivating.
Yeah.
So I kind of use that to kind of fuel that habit myself. And so really my off season started like the day after the season ended. You kind of just do little things here or there. Obviously you take a break during the holidays, but it's just, you reap what you sow, right? So I think it's easy to feel behind, but at the same time, just do what comes natural and do honestly what makes you feel like you're going to get to that next step. You know what I mean?
Well, and you mentioned the word hungry. I mean, and that's such a It's an important word to me as a coach because it was a word I used with my players a lot.
Yeah.
Just staying hungry and understanding that the grind doesn't start when coach says it starts. Right, it starts prior to that. But I've learned a little bit that's really not even a teachable trait to have. It's more just a sheer desire
Right.
type thing.
Right.
And the hungry guys, like you said, like their off season starts, the day you win or lose a championship or the day you get bounced in the playoffs or whatever, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
The off season's ready. Like we're here.
And it was a shock. It was a shock, honestly. I was like, man, aren't you gonna like relax, kick your feet
Yeah.
up? Like we just got bounced from regionals. Like,
Yeah.
don't you want to like take a? No, these guys are in the hitting center. They're in the gym, just getting right back after it for the next season. I'm like, all right, this is what it's all about, right? So maybe
I'm gonna tell you, man.
shift my mindset.
I think that's a different culture than maybe some of the generations before us.
Yeah.
Because and we'll talk about one sport athletes here in a bit, but I feel like now I think there's a lot of greatness and a lot of good in it, and maybe some causes to pause or whatever about the 365-day workouts, basically, and maybe not literally, but in a sense, every day is a scheduled day, even if it's an intentional rest day.
Right.
Right. And I feel like guys and girls, they know what today looks like, regardless of what the month is, all that jazz. Like if I'm in the off season, this is what today's going to be, and I've got to kind of accomplish, this today. But I was thinking through earlier as well, like the off season lies that you may tell yourself, right? And I know for me, like I was never. I was never superstitious as a player. I went to a smaller double A high school down in Georgia, and we were competitive. I would say we were upper middle of the road type ball club, and got an opportunity to be our ace pitcher. And I know for me I knew that, right, and I knew that we needed to win my starts, and that was one of those. Yeah, but now I look back at it though. Again, putting my coaching hat on, I got the opportunity to coach for the last 8 to 10 years. That was unnecessary, and that's I think that was one of the lies I would tell myself.
Yeah.
In especially this time of year, like preseason workouts, doing lawn toss, whatever the case may be, to like be ready for day one, opening day start. And it's not like the pros where high school you don't have 5 guys to a 5-man rotation. Like if you're lucky, you're going to have 3 good arms
for sure. Top of the rotation guys.
And usually, and for us again, small double A program, we had 2.5. So that meant that if we had a game on Tuesday, there's a chance I may throw on Friday as well to come and relief for something.
I believe it. Now I understand why you threw so many innings this summer, that summer, man.
So
back-to-back days.
Yeah. So that was wild, dude. What a summer this was. We'll have to get into that later, but but I would think though that was one of the lies that I felt like were not necessary. That
undue pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. To kind of carry the load.
And I think it turned into junior year, not quite senior year for me, but I do remember junior year of high school. It turned into a little bit of a distrust of the rest of our staff, and so that wasn't a good mindset to be in. Of like, listen, if we don't win my start, we're going to lose this week. Like we're going to go over this week, and we didn't need that. I didn't project on my teammates, but it was just one of those internal things. And so I'm going into games thinking that we got to get off to a good start today on my start, or this week rather, so that the rest of the week can go whatever. But any have you experienced that at all for yourself, or like any stories on that front for you, like that of other guys?
Yeah, I think of we talked about a little bit of preseason, leading up to the season, but for me, one of the main lies that I tell myself is in my pregame decisions, right? And like even the preseason reps, I used to tell myself leading up to games, like in the cages or pregame, like on BP on the field, like quantity, right? Like I measured my progress by taking volume and not really concentrating on the quality of the swings that
Yeah.
I'm taking or the quality of the repetitions, right?
Yep.
So like
That's fair.
I see other guys taking like 15, 20 swings and, I'm just like, oh, so I need to put in that amount of work. Well, you can have 5 great swings and 10 bad swings and your whole round's just out the window,
Yeah,
right?
for
So
sure.
it's like I measured kind of like my work ethic based on my volume and it ended up doing like more of a disservice at times.
Mm-hmm.
And for all the young players and listeners, don't get me wrong. Repetition is great. Hard work, great, pays off in the end. But for me, it was just like I knew I got quality 5, 6 reps,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would just be like, keep swinging, and then I developed like a bad habit, or I'd see myself roll over on a pitch that I knew should have been lined to the opposite way. You know what I'm saying? So you can develop bad habits that way.
Yeah.
And so like that's one of the things like quantity. Like I just measured myself on like my progress based on quantity. And I'm just like, nowadays, like you saw probably over summer, like when we all take pregame heck, sometimes I'll take like 3 or 4. And if it's jumping off the barrel, man, I'm out. Like I'm out. You'll see me in the dugout.
That's good.
Taking 5 balls or whatever. But where some other guys just like to get in quantity, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's different in that regard. But that's kind of one of the things that just like it was fixated in my head, probably from a younger age, like growing up through little league, travel ball, like because we were always getting reps, because you're really learning your craft at a young age like that, right? And then even into high school, like repetition is so critical because you're still developing and you're always developing even through collegiate years. But like at a certain level, you kind of know yourself and the muscle memory is there. So you just got to kind of trust yourself and not overdo it. And so, that was one of the lies that I told myself was, quantity over quality, where I had it completely backwards. You know what I mean?
I think for our younger listeners, maybe the question you want to ask yourself as a listener is, if I have a good hack, can I duplicate that? Right. In the same session.
Right.
And so, maybe I'm attempting to hit the back of the net, with my hack there. Can I do that 2-3 times in a row so that I know it's not a fluke? Or what about my swing allowed me to do that? Right. And once you feel that motion, you get that muscle memory ingrained in you. Like you said, get out of there.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to take a couple of buckets, of swings in the cage. Just me for an hour, whatever. I've done that. I did it this summer.
Oh yeah.
But with that bucket, I didn't put a timestamp on it either. I was like, I needed to make sure that the swing was good. And if it wasn't, like, what do I need to fix or what can I try? Right. And I think some of that just comes with maturity with age of just like knowing like this is what works for me and what works maybe for guys around me that are having success. You know what I mean?
And sometimes like when you're trying to fix something, right? Like it might take 15, 20 reps. It might take 5.
Yeah.
I mean, the older you get, the more repetitions and experience that you have as you go along through your career. Like you can make those, what's not right earlier, so you don't take as many reps.
Yeah.
But like in general, like repetitions, unnecessary reps, non-intentional reps can get you tired, mechanics slip, and that's when it doesn't translate well into the game. So that's my main point. Is like, man, just quality reps and intentional reps. Like know what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to feel, that muscle memory.
Yeah.
And go with it. When you feel it, go with it, because ride that confidence right into the game. Like that's been my thing.
A couple of years ago, dude, with my travel softball team that I had back in Georgia, I made an entire season about the word intentional, because and it literally became about every single detail regarding your game, right? And it kind of just bled into life outside of softball as well,
100%.
right? Of just being intentional. And I know we can go down that rabbit hole.
That's gonna be my word of 2026, by the way.
Hey, I'll share it with you.
Amen.
Like, seriously, because that's such a good one, man. But let's before we break here, I want to talk about, like, real quick, social media, because it's talk about intentionality, right? And how intentional people can be on social media, whether it be a highlight video or a recruiting video,
Oh,
whatever. Um, I know for me, and we're in our 30s, and we'll talk about that here on the next segment, but I didn't use social media the way players use social media today. Do you feel like, I guess before I ask a specific question, what are your thoughts on the way that guys and gals maybe use social media to benefit their game right now? And do you feel like maybe it's hurt or helped? What are your thoughts there?
I think it's like in life, right? I think it's a blessing and a curse, social media, right? It could help you. It could
Yeah.
help you tremendously. There's so much information and so many like drills out there that you can look into and like better your game, right? To make you better. But then there's a lot of things that you can get caught up in that kind of bring you down the wrong rabbit hole in terms of like your technique and something that maybe doesn't need to be tweaked. And so like like it's comparison culture,
Yeah.
and so you got to be careful about that. What one player over here is doing might not necessarily work for you, right? Like it might not be relevant for you
Yeah.
this point in your career,
That's
right?
fair.
And so that's where coaching really comes in clutch, honestly, like live coaching and feedback versus like just social media and like taking that approach. But yeah, everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses. So I'm thinking about it like looking at the players today that have all this at their disposal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like overwhelming, right? Like it just never ends in terms of the amount of content that they can get into, right?
Sure.
And so, I think in moderation it could help, but it's one of those things that I just think, you really have to be careful about like what, again, going back to the word intentional, you just be intentional about how you're utilizing it.
Yeah.
And like if you're taking videos or you're taking certain drills, making sure that you're getting your form correct during those drills, because you could try and emulate what they're doing in those particular segments. But if you're not doing it right, you can create bad habits for yourself. And so I don't know. It's a slippery. It could be a slippery slope, but again, it could be a super super like great resource.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that one too, because I can see the good in it. And I think that if used properly, it can help propel your career for a lot of folks these days, right? Because coaches are on social media, right? Program organizations, they're on social media. And so it only takes one clip maybe to get somebody to come visit, right? Or come stop by. But at the same token, it's like, man, I recall the, not stress, but I recall the level of focus I had on my game coming through high school, especially my senior year, because our senior class, we were just so dialed in together. And we were that senior class where once our junior year was done, like that last day where we got bounced, our off season started and we were ready. Our preseason rather started. There was a lot that we were focused on. And so it just feels like sometimes social media becomes just another thing you have to add into your regimen.
Right.
And I guess for the younger players out there, as we close out this segment, my advice there would be, don't allow the consumption of social media be 50, even remotely close to 50% of what you focus on.
Right.
Because 100%. you kind of get into the highlight reel mentality, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy just dropped a bomb, but it's the only bomb he's dropped all year. So is he really a home run hitter? No. I hit 2 home runs my whole high school career.
Got a clip of a ball going 30 feet over the fence, whereas he took like 100 pitches in BP.
Yeah.
And that was the only one that went out. Exactly. So you got it.
Be true. Right. Be true to who you are.
Exactly.
And don't allow social media to, maybe taint who you really are. If you are a gap to gap guy, then be that and show that. If you're a guy that, like myself, who has, little to no power, I'm a contact hitting dude, and I want to put the ball on the ground and use my wheels if I can, and that's it, right? But you want to show that, right, in a social media setting, not, what you think is going to get, maybe the most clicks,
right?
But dude, let's take a quick break.
Sure.
And guys, we will be right back. This episode is brought to you by Impact Financial Alliance, a community focused on building smarter money habits and long-term financial confidence. Impact Financial Alliance helps people understand their finances, plan with purpose, and make decisions that support their future, not just today. If you're ready to take control of your money and build something that lasts, check out Impact Financial Alliance and see how small steps can lead to real financial impact. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed that first segment. So we're gonna jump into real quick before specifically we talk about the old versus the new, and we're specifically talking about generations. And it's weird to put myself in the old category of this because
we're not that bad.
We're not, yeah, right. We're
in our prime, man.
We're upper. Yeah, you're right. We're in our prime still. We're new still. Whatever. But just our background, man. So, we met this summer. Speaking of new, we were both the new guys on a 30 plus year old league, a baseball league, here in Nashville, Tennessee. And, I got to tell you, man, I know for me, this was like one of the best things I could have found, when I moved in, man. A lot of my audience, our audience here knows, like, our family moved in January, and then we connected with Rick in May, which is our manager for the Brewers. So two outfilders. I'm on the bump.
Yeah, you're on the bump a lot. I'm like, you can do it all. I don't doubt it. You can do it all, but you're on the bump quite a bit.
But dude, so I guess real quick, man, if you had to describe this summer with the fellas, man, like how would you sum this up for yourself?
Man, what a blessing. I mean, honestly, what a group of guys. Honestly, just like you said, I was a late add to the team because, I moved here from Chicago 3 years ago, and so the first couple years just kind of like getting settled in, just trying to take summers off, but I really was missing the game. And shout out to my girlfriend Noelle. Like she pushed me.
She encouraged it? Okay.
She encouraged it because I was talking about it all the time. I was like, man, I miss ball. Like, I was talking about baseball. We're watching the Cubs all the time. Go Cubbies.
That's right.
And she's like, man, you should really get into it. Like, you should follow your passion. I'm like, all right. So I reached out to, I think Matt, his name is, on the Pirates. He's kind of the GM over the whole league, and he connected me with a couple of teams early on,
right
before May, and I just wasn't fully committed yet.
Sure.
Like I was like, I travel a lot for work. Am I going to be able to do this? Or really commit enough to it? Because once I'm in, like, I want to be there. I want to be there, man. Like I just love it so much. I don't want to sacrifice work for it, but so I kind of like dipped my toe in a little bit, put some feelers out, backed off a little bit, didn't make the tryout, but then fully got back in, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to like actually play. And then I got connected with Brick, and man, like right away on the phone, just like it was like the most chill interview kind of process. Like, hey, here's who I am, this is my background, and this is the position I play, and it's where I went to school. And he's like, hey, we got a game tonight. If you want to come out, you could you could just hang out in the dugout, chop it up with the boys, or you could play. And I'm like, man, just cold turkey. Like, this goes against everything I said in preseason prep. But let's go. I got some pants. Let's throw it on.
Yeah.
So I played that night. Happy to say, it was a little bit like riding a bike. Got a knock.
Yeah.
Got a knock on my first game back that same day. And, man, from there, but let me tell you, the dugout.
Oh, man.
The dugout, man. There's never a dull moment with these guys. And I love it, man. And that's what I miss the most, like, obviously the love of the game. And just like the moments, the big hits, the catches, the throws.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
But it's those conversations and those laughs in the dugout that you just can't get.
It's real.
Anywhere.
It's the real moments, right?
That's what I think any like retired player would say, like in the MLB, or whenever players end up, calling it quits, is like they've missed that camaraderie, whether it's softball, baseball, whatever sport, really. And So for that, I'm super grateful, and it was just a blast, and I can't wait to get going again.
Dude,
this summer.
let me tell you, man. Aubrey has been asking. She's like, "Daddy, when does baseball season start?"
Oh, I love
And
that.
I'm like, baby, we still got 5 months.
Love that.
He's just like, 5 months. I'm like, I'm not. I'm like, I know, me too, baby, me too. But man, listen,
awesome.
dude, we're one and the same. Like, it has been an incredible blessing, and much like yourself, a little bit. I was a little hesitant because we moved here. It's just us. It's me. It's Bethany. It's Aubrey. Just the three of us, and we moved here with the intention to like spend almost all of our time together on purpose because
Right.
we've been spending a lot of time with extended family
Sure.
back in Georgia just because we're right by everybody, right?
Mhm.
So we're like, when we make this move up to Nashville, we really don't want to, aside from like me going to work and maybe refereeing, like we're gonna probably do everything together.
Just reduce your commitments
That's it.
outside of the relationship.
Exactly. I don't want to have multiple days a week where I need to be away or whatever. And so that's why I was hesitant to like get going.
Yeah.
And so we're on the road back up to Tennessee from Georgia. I just got done coaching a travel ball tournament. And so we're on the road back up. Rick had left me a voicemail. He sounded super cool. So I called him back. And like you said, man, similar there, just a chill vibe. He said, "Hey man, we got a game." I think this was the next day actually. Yeah, this was a Wednesday. I think it was a makeup game on a Thursday. So we were talking.
Was it the Knights by chance?
It was.
That was
the Knights game.
My first game too.
Yeah,
that same night. So
that's
these conversations
that's
are happening
it.
the same day.
That's wild. So man, he's like, "Man, we got a game tomorrow. He's like, you can come hang out or you can come play or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, I'll if I can get back, maybe throw a bullpen or something, or at least, take some cuts and see if I could, maybe help out, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
We show up.
Yeah.
Show up, man, for the game. And Bethany, my wife, she's so excited because she'd been saying the whole time, like, the last few years, really. She's like, "Hey, it'd be great to see you in some baseball pants again." Type thing, whatever. I'm like, whatever. So man, I get there. Long story short, I get there. He's like, "Hey, if you want, you can throw an inning or two." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I mean, maybe I don't know if I can give you 6 outs, but we'll see. We'll see what I can do."
Yeah.
Right. Lo and behold, like not even 10 minutes later, Eddie comes up, right, which is kind of our assistant manager on the team, and he comes up and he's like, "You want to start?" And I'm like, "What?"
Oh man.
In my head, I'm like, "Whatever." Yeah, I was like, "If you need me to, that's cool. I can come in and throw a couple innings, and whoever else you got to come in."
Yeah.
Dude, I throw 112 pitches or 120, whatever the number may be. It was triple digits that night.
That was the norm for you, though, man.
Dude, I hadn't thrown.
I want your listeners to know, man. You are a rubber arm gamer.
Dude, I don't know how. I have no idea. I hadn't thrown an entire game like that in over a decade. So for me to come out there and do that, I impressed myself. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really, it was such a cool like whoa. Yeah. Okay, so like, what if you actually like preseasoned? So like that, I'm genuinely excited for, basically late February into March and April. I'm gonna try to work and get going, get some long toss bullpen type stuff. But I'm like, okay, hey, let's do it.
And and so like on the last segment when I said like sometimes quality over quantity or less is more sometimes. Perfect testament to that. You just jump right in. I'm not saying that's always going to work.
No, yeah.
And it's a pretty low stress thing. This is a men's recreational summer league. It's not a collegiate season, so it's not like you can approach it that way in other leagues. But,
sure.
I mean, perfect example. You
just to get out there and go.
Think less. Just go out there and have fun.
And dude, I think that's when a lot of us were at our best, right?
1000%.
Not thinking, just go.
And when I'm having fun, when things are good,
all bets are off.
Then that's when I have some of the best seasons that I've ever had. So.
That's it, man. So if you're ever in Nashville, come check out the Nashville Brewers because you'll at the very least you'll have a good time hanging out with us post game. No doubt about that, and you'll get some good action for 9 innings on the field. But let's talk about real quick old versus new, and in terms of generation of players, right? I don't want to be that old head guy, talking trash about the new generation because I actually, I just spent a lot of time coaching the new generation, and I know at least a new generation of girls, of softball players, and I know what makes them tick. I know how they think and what they process, and I really have a deep appreciation for it. But I am curious to know, like from your perspective at least, softer, tougher, are they different in different ways? Like, what do you think about this new generation of collegiate players and high schoolers?
Man, well, the new generation, they just have so many tools and technologies at their disposal, right? Like we talked about social media earlier, but like things like VR, dynamic drills, specialized trainings, like they have so much more at their disposal
Yeah.
that, they're more prepared earlier and earlier, right? And so, I don't think necessarily it makes them soft because they have so much like that they can utilize. So I feel like almost like jealousy because we just didn't have that.
Yeah.
Even like 90s, right? Like growing up, like we just didn't have all those technologies and things. So we had to do it the old school way, the way our coaches in their time were teaching us to do it. And so like I think that's where they get a little bit of criticism of being like soft, right? Because they use all these new fancy gadgets and tools and things like that kind of get them prepared. But
It's an edge.
It's an edge. It's an edge, but I don't think that makes them soft.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at some of like these in the state of the MLB today. The stars the stars on both sides, the AL and NL, are just the all-star rosters are littered with guys 25 and under, right? And I mean, it used to be the complete opposite. It used to be the upper 20s, early 30s guys. I mean, I saw like so many reels of like there was an epic all-star game in particular. I can't remember what year. It was like the Griffey, McGuire, Sosa years, like Bonds still there, Clemens, and all those guys were like older.
Yeah.
And like it took them years to get to that point, right? In their craft. And so to see some of these guys and girls coming up, just even at the high school level, like sophomores, like I'll tell you what, I was 5'5", $140 my sophomore year. I wasn't dropping any bombs. I wasn't doing anything cool. I was fast, but I wasn't doing anything they're doing now. And it really speaks to the availability of these strength and conditioning coaches getting kids, trained and building muscle and getting stronger earlier and just repetitions like and these new drills in VR, man. I haven't even dabbled with VR, but I've seen like simulations of it, and I'm just like, man, this is awesome. And like just getting in like over winter in some of these like simulation labs and just like taking cuts and kind of seeing the exit velo and like the trajectory and everything. It's just crazy, man. So, but I don't think it makes them soft. I am jealous because I feel like that would have been cool to have. But I don't know. I think it's kind of fascinating.
I'll be honest with you, man. I love the state of the union, if you will, in terms of like the diamond sports, like baseball, softball. I love where it's at, and like as far as the stuff you just rattled off there of what they have access to, if you use it the right way, dude, you have a chance to dominate like nobody's business. Because how do I put this? To be able to sit in your living room and just do VR work is wild to me.
Right.
That's so cool though, because I grew up playing video games. I still play video games now, actually, and so to be able to like put that on and to use it for a purpose. Because I remember growing up in high school, and, well, not as much high school, but more middle school, early high school, I guess. I'd sit and play a video game for a couple hours, on the weekends or whatever. But if you told me I could spend a couple of hours with a VR headset and improve my game, I
think it's one of those things though too, that as long as you don't get complacent or take, with all this technology and things that are going on in the game today, players can start trying to take shortcuts. And when you lose the process, the art of the process, you want those instant gratification, instant like results because of all the developments. That's where you kind of get in that
dicey there,
dicey because you really lose focus of like the actual process and like what it takes to kind of develop those skills, that muscle memory, like long term, right? So
Right.
as long as you don't develop bad habits while using those tools, I mean, power to you.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the word is access, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got access to virtually everything you need, and even stuff you don't need. And
Right.
so if you can leverage it, like, go for it.
Yeah.
I think there are there are moments where I feel like there has to be more discipline for this generation, and it's a weird backwards
Mhm.
way of thinking about it. But I say that in the sense of this generation has to decipher, what do I use, when do I use it,
Yeah.
how much do I use it, and who do I listen to?
Right.
How much do I listen to them,
Right.
right? Because nowadays, like, I just remember having one or two key people, coaches
Yeah.
coaches in my
It
world
was simple.
that were just pouring in.
Right.
And I was so grateful for that.
Right.
Now you've got the online coach pouring into you, potentially, right? You've got the YouTube coaches out there that you may just listen to. You got the podcasters out there.
Yeah.
You've got your in-person coaches. Of course, you've always got your parents, or most people do. But, like, you've got all these people pulling you potentially in different directions.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you've got all this technology and access to other things that you can use, that you have to say, hey, listen, I don't need the whole gamut.
It could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in a way, because things were so much more simple for us, we could just focus on
Yeah. It
the
was
task at
more
hand.
concentrated, like on
Yeah.
like a subset of like instruction versus just grabbing it from here.
Yeah.
When you put it like that, it's like you got to know, you got to stay attuned to like what is relevant and what is most important, what's right in front of you, one
Yeah.
thing at a time. Like you can't just take all of it, otherwise you just scatter.
Yep. And as a coach, like, I found myself doing that more often, of reeling players back in. So,
Yeah.
like, hey, let's dial in right here. And then there will be a time for some of the other stuff for us to focus on
Sure.
that. But let's just focus on the basics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just, my catchers, like, let's just work on framing.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it
Yeah.
is, whatever that may look like. So, all right. So just to kind of segue a little bit, staying with the younger generation of athletes, there are so many, and maybe this just goes beyond, I mean, not maybe, this goes beyond baseball and softball specifically. This is athletes in general. I've heard so much lately about people saying, "Hey, listen, I'm just gonna focus on one sport." Um, and what that looks like. And I guess I'll share my thoughts on that, and feel free to cut me off. But, like, that's a scary scene for me.
Okay.
Only because and again, it's a scary scene because I can go off of my experience personally, and I can go off of the experience of the players that I've coached already, and the ones who just dialed in on softball and the ones who did not. There was a difference in their athleticism, but also a difference in their motor skills in general, like their basic ability to use different muscle groups and things like that in the weight room, right? So
absolutely.
I'm still a believer, and again, maybe there's science and things like that will come out and prove that maybe one sport athletes are going to be the way to go in the future. But as we're in 2026 to kick it off now, I still am a believer in multi-sport athletes. I was a cross country guy, played baseball, and I played basketball a little bit in high school. I played it more later on, but there were just muscles and just cues in other sports that would allow me to be a better baseball player.
Yeah.
And the biggest cue from cross country had nothing to do with me running my legs. It was all mental, because that's what cross country is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Can you just keep going when your body's like saying no, Demetrius? Like, you should have stopped 2 miles ago.
Yeah.
Right? And that was such a mental grind for me. At no point on the baseball field do I really experience that kind of mental grind from cross country, but I can still apply it in the longevity of the season, right?
It's translatable.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. I think doing other things that challenge your brain, and maybe it's not a sport, right? I'm not trying to talk myself out of being a multi-sport guy, but maybe it's doing other things that will challenge your brain and maybe put pressure on you in different ways. At the very least, if you're going to play one sport, I don't know, cook or I don't know what it is, but like do something else in addition to that will challenge your motor skills. But I don't know, dude. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to players who specialize early in one sport, like more power to you, right? I mean,
Hmm.
from that perspective, we're not knocking you if you just want to focus on one sport. But me as a three-sport athlete myself in high school, you can't always develop the same set of skills in one
Sure.
particular sport. So the point that you called out about cross country and the mental fortitude that you had to get through some of those long grueling runs maybe, and how that translates differently, but it still translates into baseball mental toughness, right?
Sure.
So it's and from another perspective, it's like, so softball and baseball, they can feel at times like an individual sport, right? It's
Hmm.
you versus the pitcher,
Yep.
in those situations. Whereas basketball, football, soccer, so many of these other sports, you really rely on a collective, like teammates,
Yeah.
for the overall greater goal that you all are trying to achieve, right?
Hmm.
And baseball's a team sport too, obviously, collectively for 9 innings. You need
Right.
everybody. You need all 9 players on the field contributing, doing their job, right? So it's not that it's not. But in certain moments, it can be a very individual results
Yeah.
kind of game.
There's some things you can do
we've all
alone.
had those guys or girls in the dugout that, at the end of the game, we're losing. We lose the game, but they're talking about their stats.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, team loss. So
Yeah.
like, what good is that really?
I don't care.
Right, right. Like,
Yeah.
and so, from that perspective, it's like multiple sports, it kind of teaches real like team cohesiveness and just how to stay on the same page and just kind of play for a bigger result.
Yeah.
And learn to trust others, right?
Mm.
Because if you've always been one of the top players on your team, for example, like you had mentioned earlier about being like the ace and carrying that burden you put on yourself.
Yeah.
About, so many players can just be like, oh well, it's my time to shine, and you can feel this kind of sense of resentment almost.
Yeah.
It could. Some players do. I've seen it. But like with these more team focused games, like you really do develop a sense of trust and camaraderie, and you have to rely on others. And so I think that makes you more selfless and less about just me, and my results and how I look in any given moment. And it's more about, hey, we got a job to do, and I'm in it for my brother and my sister next to me, right? And so, yeah, like just as much as physical things that you could pick up from other sports and bring them, movement wise into baseball and make you more agile, make you quicker, faster, more athletic. There's that other element to it too, and it's the mental element where you really have to, between the ears, have that team mentality. Like if you're a cleanup hitter and you have a situation where you got to get a bunt down, but you're bigger than you think you're too big for that moment, and you don't get the bunt down. Like that was kind of selfish. They're selfish rather, and so it's like you learn how to do those things and be a team player more so in my opinion in those other sports
Sure.
too. That's kind of things that it teaches you.
I love that, dude. I think that's a great. I didn't think about it from the team sport perspective because there, like you said, there are moments where, and in other sports too. Like you've seen basketball players go out and put up 60, right? You can go dominate a game on the court. There are moments where in baseball where a pitcher can dominate a game by him or herself at times. Or every time a guy or girl comes up to the box, they're going to affect things, whether they're getting intentionally walked or they're consistently, knocking doubles and triples and bombs, right?
Right.
But I refereed earlier today, and you've got players on a court. You've got 5-on-5 there, and if the court isn't spaced out properly, then that guy's not going to be able to get you 60. Right. And so you can be Steph Curry, right? But if the other team chooses to double him as soon as he crosses half court, it'll be very difficult.
You got to rely.
He's going to have to give it up.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to have to give up the rock, and somebody else is going to have to put it in the basket. Right. And so you're right. I mean, you have to have the whole squad in a lot of other sports. And again, you have to have that in the diamond sports as well for the collective. But like you said, there are more moments than not where in our sport you're going to find yourself in a one-on-one battle
Yeah.
pitcher batter type deal.
And not to mention just the more coaches that you get to, play for and like their coaching style and the lessons they teach you beyond the sport. Like the more knowledge you can get,
Priceless.
the better.
Priceless.
You become more like a diamond.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It definitely. I've learned so much from football coaches, in terms of like just mental toughness. Like growing up, and like my basketball coach was a little bit of a loon, but like he was so knowledgeable and empathetic.
Yeah.
Like it really translated into kind of baseball.
Yep.
In some way, shape, or form, of course. But it's it's just more exposure to different coaching styles, and you always pick up something.
Yep. Story for another day, man. But our freshman year of high school, after our playoff run was over, we go into sophomore year. The school didn't rehire a new baseball coach. They obviously didn't rehire him, but they didn't hire a new external baseball coach. So our football coach stepped in as our baseball coach. And that was quite the year. I'll say that. So anyway, guys, it was one of the toughest preseasons I've ever had in my life.
Go run polls.
I'll say that.
Go run polls.
Absolutely, a lot of running. But hey guys, we'll be right back. As soon as we jump back in here, man, we're gonna have. I don't think I've ever done this segment before on the show. In the previous 67 episodes, I'm always being honest and truthful, but this one's called the Let's Be Honest segment here, and we'll just kind of be real talk as we always are, but it'll be fun to kind of go through some of these topics. So we'll be right back, guys. Okay, so actually, guys, what's going down here is that this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part series here with our buddy Kyle. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show thus far. But listen, we're going to wrap this one up. We'll catch you next week. So please let everything you do be done in love. Because at the end of the day, that is really what makes this world go round. We'll see you guys next week for part 2. Thanks so much for tuning in.